Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Truth Quest. This is a live show. We're doing a live stream here. And so we're going to put the link in the description in just 1 second here. And we're going to talk about disclosure and what you guys all think about this slow roll, really horrifying drip, drip, drip disclosure that really, I mean, we need to rip off the Band-Aid, if you ask me. I mean, we've got 70 years of, truth telling to,
The Truth Quest
change
is
yeah, there we go. And so I guess that's verification that we are now live. Yes. Welcome, friends from all over. Please share this out. You're welcome to call in and the Zoom. I'm putting the link in now. It's okay. And that should be it. If that works, if that doesn't work, please let me know. Thank you. Well, friends, I just have to say, this slow roll of disclosure, these few little fuzzy clips of the Pentagon allegedly says, it's just not enough. We can't let them get away with this. This is just, it's ridiculous. I mean, we need some really big admissions. How many times have you heard, oh, we discovered water on the surface of Mars? Again, look, we've got whistleblowers who are telling us incredible things. And one whistleblower that's blowing the lid off of everything is Andrew DiBisciago. And, he's here every Sunday. He's got his own show called The Quest for Truth with Andrew DiBisciago, where he is going over all the details that is in his upcoming 300-chapter book. Yes, folks, you heard that right. 300 chapters. It's going to be a very extensive, blow the lid off of everything at once book, and a go-to for anything you want to know about Andrew DiBisciago. So, and it's done. However, it's in the process of being edited. So it's not exactly available yet, but as soon as it is, we will let you know. So there. All right. And every Sunday from 3 to 5 Central, 4 to 6 Eastern time, you can call in via Zoom, just like you can now, and you can talk to Andy. All right, let's see who's over here. Jacob Waters, party over here. Yeah, party's over here. It sure is. Ocean Space, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Invite your friends over. I didn't give any advance warning for this. I'm sorry about that. I just thought we'd do this little live thing and give it a try. So share this out and let's get some people. Get 3 thumbs up and only 2 watching. That's pretty incredible. Be there or be square. That's right. Yeah, I guess we're the hippest people out. We're here, and they'll come. I think they're going to be coming. and I'm very grateful for anybody in the audience. So thank you, both of you, for being in the audience. That means a lot to me. And I also have to say thank you. We went over the 2,000 subscribers mark. We're at 2,126 now, I believe. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you very, very much. I can't even believe that I have that many people that want to call to listen in. So very, very humbled. Thank you. And it's growing fast. So the word must be getting out. It helps to have Andy on. I mean, Andy's a great guy. Be there, be square. 300. You, what was that you were puffing? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I really started to like your show and have to admit, to put on a good show, you put on a good show and you have a great guest every Sunday. Yes, well, thank you. I agree. Hello, Melinda. Thanks for coming over, for coming on. So feel free to, I dropped the link in the chat. I'm hoping it works, so let me know if you're trying to get in here and you can't. Someone was in here and now they're not, so I don't know where they went. All righty then. And some books that I'd like to suggest to you folks one is The Day After Roswell, okay, by Colonel Philip J. Corso Sr. It's a fantastic book. And he was the head of the Foreign Technologies Desk at the Pentagon in 1961. And so he was in charge of foreign technologies. Like if the French had like their weapons systems on their helicopters were more advanced, then we'd find out about it. He'd have to keep abreast of that. And he was given a 4-drawer file cabinet filled with wreckage from the crash at Roswell. So his job, Colonel Corso's job, his boss, General Trudeau, told him, gave him this 4-drawer file cabinet, said, look, I don't know if they know we have this. I don't know how long we're gonna have this, but we have it. So let's take it. I want you to take it, look at what's in here, try to figure out what this stuff is. If there's any company or university doing work on this type of stuff, bring it to them. Put on your civilian clothes, bring it to them and say, we got this out of a foreign fighter. Whatever patents, file the patents for it, but we want the military application. So he claims that Kevlar, fiber optics, and night vision were all developed after he brought in the computer chip to ITT. They saw it back in 1947. That's how they made the transistor. It was made out of two things that they never tried in electronics before, and that was arsenic and silicon. And so two guys who never invented anything before or after invented this, miraculously changed the electronics industry forever. And it was the first baby step towards the computer chip. And when they saw it again back in 61, then they went, oh yeah, let's do this. Now the fiber optics that Corso talks about that were in this cabinet, they were much more advanced than our fiber optics, because when you touched them, they would light up. The light would go through, would go like transfer from your body into it. So it would take your energy and it would go through. Very advanced. So we weren't getting exactly what we were looking at. I guess it's like when you look at a skyscraper and you try to make it out of an erector set. I guess that's kind of what it's like. But yeah, Colonel Corso. Okay, it looks like we got our first guest here, Jacob Waters. Of course, he's a regular over there on our Sunday show. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Aaron. How are you doing today?
Well, if I was doing any better, I'd be you.
I don't know about that. But yeah, no, I just wanted to jump on and say I really do enjoy your show. I like when you have on Andy, and it's been a great last few Sundays. I really enjoy watching it.
Yeah, it's just amazing. The guy's mind is it's I can remember a few things from my past, but boy, he really and I keep thinking of questions. I have a bunch of questions that he hasn't answered yet because I haven't asked him yet. But yeah, I just keep thinking about the future, the near future, the future that could already be here if these technologies were made public like his dad wanted it to happen back in the 70s. I mean, we'd have Omni Theater movie presentations at the Science Museum showing dinosaurs, and the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and all the historical things. And,
oh yeah, and just the technology of teleporting for transportation would eliminate all of our exhaust and everything else pollution that we put off from all of our vehicles. That would be a game changer alone.
Exactly. It totally would. And even if it was just for packages, because, Andy's father, his valves in his heart kind of hardened up from the teleporting. So it might not be, super duper safe. I mean, it's probably safer than any other form, but.
Well, and with that being as long ago as it was, I really feel like they would have it dialed in a lot more now. I mean, Andy's still distanced from it from when he was involved. So I'm imagining the technology's only gotten better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone's asking in the chat here, did we watch the David Wilcox show this week? No, but I've seen some of the still shots from it with the captions, and they're pretty funny. I like David, but it's hard to it's hard to keep your focus for 3, 4, 5 hours. It's kind of tough, but he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Also, for courts, the chronovisor. So, a guy's in there for bank robbery, and the judge says, okay, you say you're innocent. We're going to play the chronovisor and see exactly who did rob the bank. Here's your last chance to fess up.
Or it turns into Minority Report and they're trying to charge people for crimes ahead of time. It's one or the other.
That could be too, I was thinking, archaeologists could be watching a dinosaur and following it till it dies. And then they know right where to dig to try and find the bones. So, I think the applications are endless. Whatever your imagination can conjure up. But these are things we've had since the 70s. And this is the real frustrating part about this is, we should already be there. And I really hope that this show keeps growing and growing, because people need to know that we've had this stuff and it's locked away. It's like,
we're lucky to have somebody that we can listen to that's actually got to experience these things, because I couldn't fathom it otherwise. And Andy's been so straightforward with his story, and he's one of the most credible people I've ever heard. I mean, anybody that can pass the bar exam in Washington and then also tell you about their experiences that way, they have a little more merit than the average whistleblower or, you know, conspiracy theorist out there. I always thought Andy's story was always way more credible than others.
Yeah, it really is. And that doesn't mean that other people's stories aren't true. It's just that he's got 7 witnesses that have come forward. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And this last week, you know, we're starting every week to get another Project Pegasus proof. And this last week, he divulged, I think it's the first time he's talked about it, possibly, where he and this other school-age youngster in the program, David, were sent back to 1939, December 7th, 1939, to Owensville, Indiana. Did you hear that last week?
Yeah.
And so they went into this store to buy some candy bars, and they took the bill, and a dollar bill, and it was 1965, and the store owner chased him out. But he kept the bill. And then they were mistreated by a few other people. And then so they decided, well, you know, let's leave him a little message here. And they found some chalk or paint or something. And they wrote, "Remember Pearl Harbor," because 2 years to the day after that, Pearl Harbor happened.
Wow.
So, you know, everyone was like, well, how did anybody know? But very, very interesting.
I thought Andy's dad, or Andy had talked about his dad sending some type of change or something back in time. And they had found a small amount of change that was dated into the future.
Yeah, it was a penny. He dropped it through a Edison coil or something, or a Tesla coil at the Edison lab, and it disappeared. But some kid found it, or some guy found it, and it was like 2 or 3 years into the future.
Oh.
And so yeah, there's all these little proofs. Now I want to try to find out who that shop owner was, or the clerk that took that bill, because he didn't give it back to the kids. He kept it. Maybe there's a story around that it could be a further proof of Andy's story. But so fascinating.
What's your favorite encounter that Andy's had, or your favorite story that he's told?
Oh man.
If you had to narrow it down.
I'd say just the teleporting.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when he would teleport to Santa Fe, New Mexico, spend the whole summer there, then teleport back and spend the summer again in New Jersey. You know, so there were 2 Andrew Bishagos at the same time. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, and that he got to experience 1 year multiple times. It seemed like one was, I don't remember what age it was, but he said he lived out that year twice.
Right, the summer. Yeah. It's so interesting. But you know, I remember hearing this one other person's testimony where he was working underground under this tunnel, under a river, in this like a subway tunnel or something, putting tiles up. He went down in the morning, spent all day putting the tiles up. He came out after working a full 8-hour day, and it was still morning. So, you know, what's that? I mean, is moving water somehow related to maybe time slips too? And maybe that's why pyramids always had water underneath them.
Well, I mean, everything with like the Nazi bell and stuff like that, it's always been about moving some type of energy around a craft, it seems like, of some sort, and it seems to like separate it from our reality. It almost breaks it free of it. I've never understood any of it. It's just all pretty hard for me to fathom, but at the same time, it seems to be some usual energy stored. Even when they depicted it in H.G. Wells's Time Machine, they had this object spinning around his chair, and then eventually it like removed him from that place in time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's hard to understand.
Yeah, let's see. Someone's asking. Oh, thanks for the cool spaceship. Thanks, Gabriel. Is Andrew Pishago coming on tonight? No, Andy's not coming on. But if you want to call in and give a question, I'll jot it down and make sure to ask it if you're not here when he's here next Sunday. But yeah, that's a fun thing to think about, what to ask Andy. One of the things about his story that I was curious about for years, and I finally got to ask him a couple of shows ago, was about how when they were teleporting, they'd find themselves in this triangle tunnel with like rounded edges, and then they'd find footfall after a few seconds. And I always wondered, finding footfall, I mean, it's like you're tumbling, falling out of the sky, or how is that? And he said it gently let you down onto the ground. It gently would let you down. But if you're like doing the somersaults or something in midair, because it's zero gravity in there. And some kids, he said, did that. They did like flips as they were waiting to warm off and to find footfalls. So it does let you down softly. So that's nice.
I don't remember which technology it was, but it always freaked me out, the one where he said that they had to hold their breath to go in because they had to catch their breath before they went through. And he was saying that the kids were doing it because they had a better capability of doing it. Sometimes the adults would get shocked and they would like take a breath or lose their breath right before, or be in there too long. I've always like wondered what affected how long you were in there, if it was a longer distance travel or how that worked either.
Yeah, I guess it has something to do with how fast you run into it, the teleporter, and it creates a bubble around you. And the first like 6 enlisted people, Navy people that went in there all died because they didn't go in fast enough. They didn't create a big enough bubble of air around themselves. But yeah, they did also hold their breath too. And when Andy said, here's an interesting one. Do you remember when Andy said that he and his other team members, I think there was like 3 or 4 other kids and Andy, and they were teleporting in 1971 or 1972, and they somehow hit a time slip and went back to 1992 to forward to 1992. So from 72 to 92. And some of the kids were freaking out, like, oh my God, we missed all that life, and Andy's trying to like calm them down. Like, we still have relatives, they'll be older, but you'll still know people. But we're going to try and get back. I need to get a hold of this person. So he was the leader of the blue team. And so he knew what position of a person to ask for, like who was the person in charge of such and such agency, section, whatever. And he got a hold of the person after a couple days, or they got a hold of him for him. And they said, okay, we're going to send you back, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be like what you remember teleporting. It's going to be a little rough. It might be a little painful. It's going to take a little longer. We've learned a little bit more about teleportation since the 70s, but we've also forgotten a lot of things. So it's going to be a little rough ride for you. So they put these suits on. Like he had his helmet and with a plastic shield. And he said instead of like 6 seconds, it was like a half hour or more. And he said it was painful. And halfway through it, this light being, like this lit up angel being, came into the center of the tunnel and brought them through the rest of the way. And he said when he landed on the tarmac, on the tarmac, he fell on his back so hard that it shattered that shield. So that highlights the importance of getting this information out. Because if they already didn't remember something from the 70s in the 90s, what are they forgetting by now? I mean,
Yeah, it could be lost.
yeah. But I mean, even just getting modern scientists on board with this and having them start to do experiments based on things that Andy's talking about, would be a big boost from where we are. Because I feel like we're in the 70s still,
Well, it's amazing with having such a good photographic memory that he has. He was also under pressure, able to remember the commands that he got about what you should do if you end up in a different time, because they did plan for that stuff. I don't know if it had happened before to other people, but they gave him a command about, oh, this is what you do if you land in a different place. These are the people you should look up. And he remembered to follow all those and lead his team.
That's right. Oh, he did say that trip back from 92 back to 72, one of the girls didn't make it. She didn't make it back. So most of the team members made it back, but this one girl did not make it back. So I don't know if she was lost somewhere in a time stream in some other time period. But it's dangerous stuff that they were doing. But yeah, it's so incredible to have him do this, and boy, for years and years I've had all these questions in my head about his story, and I love all the other people around his story. Like, have you looked into Bernie Mendez at all?
Yes. Alfred Labremont Weber, Bernie Mendez. I've looked into all of them. Yes, there's quite the list of people that have amazing stories as well.
Oh wow, we're up to 9 people watching. Woohoo! Hey, our uncloaked, our cloaked unseen world. Oh boy. Yeah.
My favorite of Andy's stories is besides the time travel, it's amazing how many famous people he's encountered all throughout his career and life experiences, whether it's George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, whether it's Jim Morrison. Like there's this endless list of people that it's amazing that he got to encounter. Val Kilmer, just the list goes on. And now he just said the other day that there's another one, a singer, and I'm still waiting to hear this one.
Yeah, what's your guess? What's your guess?
I stopped guessing because I didn't want to make Andy upset. I knew he didn't want to reveal it until he gave a little more information out, and so
that's true.
I just wanted to yield.
I have a guess. I wonder if I should say it. I haven't mentioned it to him yet. Maybe I shouldn't.
I won't hurt.
I was thinking it might be Garth Brooks.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be a good one. For some reason, I was getting the feeling it was a country singer, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
it's kind of a feeling.
It's hard to know.
Exactly.
And when I looked up, if you look up famous people born in 61 or 62, there's like 3/4 of the people I don't even know because I've been so cut out of the mainstream media.
Well, and he said they were significantly famous. So I looked for people that were kind of headliners. You can look at on this day in history on the dates that people were born. So you look up on this day in history, you can search by the month of that year and dial it down. So I had a list of literally every month of 1961, and I decided not to bring them all on because I didn't want to take up all the time with guessing and making Andy upset.
Well, Andy was born in September 18th.
That's when I started looking.
61. So it would be someone born after that.
Okay.
So either, it's October, November, or December, or 62. That's when I was born in 62. But yeah, it's really just a treat to be able to help Andy to do all this stuff. I'm also working on some book covers for some of his books. So that's kind of a fun little project too. Fun little.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this book for years. I really hope some of his books come out soon and he gets a good publisher and gets it put out right, because gosh, I could call him up right now and say, just take my money. I want this book. Like, I really want this book.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it consists of 100%, but I would be so interested in reading it.
Have you read this book yet? Selected by Extraterrestrials by
No, I don't think I have.
William Mills Tompkins. Oh my goodness. Well, you should read this while you wait for Andy's book to come out. He was the 94-year-old aerospace designer who came forward, and he designed miles-long spacecraft for the Navy.
Oh, wow.
In the 40s, 50s, and 60s that were deployed in the 1980s under the Solar Warden program. He was the guy. Here's one of his sketch of one of his designs. It's like a cigar-shaped craft, but it's gigantic. It's a cargo ship. And they built these things. They built them. That's one of them. Here's another one. And now this one right here, I took, if you can see it or not, it looks like something right out of Star Trek or Star Wars. And so, yeah, he's also the guy that designed how we build rockets vertically. He's the guy that designed the building that the rockets are made in. He designed the floor plan for all the scientists to watch all the Apollo stuff that was happening. He designed that. And he was in an underground observation room during the moon landing. And he saw what the public didn't see, because there was 2 minutes missing after they landed. The signal was scrambled and no one could hear them for 2 minutes. Ham radio operators did record the audio. So for years, we've always known what they've said. But here now we had William. He did a sketch. And do you want to see that sketch? Let me see if I can find it.
Sounds like Von Braun stole his shine.
Well, he was teaching Von Braun a thing or two. In fact, he went to go meet Von Braun, and he chronicles that story in his book. It's absolutely fantastic. So I highly recommend it. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah. So where are you calling from, or do you want to stay anonymous on your locale?
Oh, I'm a Chicagoland area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm up here in Dork County.
I'm in DeKalb County.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not finding it for some reason. Wait a minute. Have you ever looked into Apollo 20? That's an interesting one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, Ocean Space is from Minnesota. Oh, I was raised in Minnesota, born in Arizona, but raised in Minnesota. So where are you from in Minnesota, Ocean Space? There's a delay, so it should be a little while for that. Is this done yet? Let's see. Okay, I think this is it. All right, I'm going to do the old screen share Rooney here, I think. And yeah, so remember, friends, tell everybody about the show on Sunday, because Andy's coming every Sunday, to answer questions. It's really unprecedented. He's been under the radar for years. Am I correct? Have you heard anything from him, Jake?
I've heard he did a few shows with Gary Legier not too long ago, the Mad Martian.
Okay. right?
That was right before, or right at the beginning of when he started doing the Truth Quest with you.
Hmm.
And that was basically just a kind of a status update for the public.
Okay. All right. You should be able to see it now.
Oh, okay, I see it now. Yeah.
Okay. The top is his sketch, and below it, I just did a little quick little rendering to see what it might have kind of looked like. But yeah, that's what he saw. Now, can you imagine what the world would be like if that was on the front page of the paper? We went to the moon and look what we found. I mean, don't you think the whole world would just be super excited? I mean, don't you think that would have just lit humanity up like nothing? I mean, incredible.
Yeah, I think it would scare people as well. There's got to be a reason we didn't go back to the moon. And if they knew there was fleets up there like this, that might shock some people.
Yeah, I guess so. But still, I like the truth, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
If it hurts someone's feelings or, you know, makes something, I don't know. I'm always for the truth, you know.
No,
So
that's my favorite quote. Facts don't care about your feelings.
right. So now the ham operators, you know, they recorded this and they were like, oh my goodness, they're huge, sir. We're not alone. They're lined up on the crater. They're watching us. They're huge, sir. We know. Turn the camera away. Stop talking about it. So the ham radio operators had this. So for years, it's like, we're all going, okay, we can hear what they're saying. What were they seeing? And lo and behold, out comes this guy out of nowhere, 94-year-old aerospace designer, engineer, model maker. And he has the answer to that little question. Like, what did they see? That's what they saw. And he's an artist.
When I heard about the ships, I also heard about the crystal city or crystalline structures that they were also seeing. And I didn't know if you had heard about that at all.
Oh, you mean on Apollo 20?
Is that Apollo 20?
Yeah, it's not crystal, but it looks like a junk pile of metal or something. It's
Okay.
now that portion of the film, some people are saying is was inserted as to discredit the main body of information. I don't know if that's true or not. Anytime you look at any of this stuff, I mean, you have to figure, I mean, the controlling people are going to be trying to control it, right? Hey, Mud Rabbit, how you doing? Hey, you're not late. We didn't announce this, so nobody's late. So thanks for coming. We got 13 people now. We're rocking and rolling. All right. We're talking about disclosure. And, I don't know about you, Jake, but this slow rollout of showing fuzzy footage is just not cutting it. It's not cutting it. It's not enough. It's too late, too little, too late. That's not disclosure. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Rip off the
I don't know
Band-Aid.
how we're ever going to introduce to people the type of technology we have at this rate.
Right. Oh, look, we got Marcos GP joining. Oh, also, people, if you come on, you're gonna either your name or your image is gonna show. So if you don't want that to happen, just don't call in. And let's ask Marcos. How you doing, Marcos?
I just want to say hi.
Hello. How you doing?
I like this format where you just bring people in and talking more like with that topic and see where this goes.
Yeah. So what's your opinion about the current disclosure, the government disclosure of UFOs?
My fear, I think this is common in the community. I mean, there's so many camps, but I think whenever we see it on CNN and whenever we see it on the news, I think it's going to be a watered down spin version of whatever
Right.
the reality of the thing is. So whatever they gave us probably is gonna be the way it was in the 70s, and it's gonna sound mind blowing to most. So people are gonna just go along, and so most of us, or family and friends, are gonna be like, "Hey, see, you were right all along." It's like, and then we're gonna be like all skeptical, and it's like, "What's wrong with you?" They say they're selling. It's like, I don't know. Are they really? Is it an hologram? So yeah, they're gonna spin it in their favor, whichever way. So
Yeah, it's amazing how slow they're going. I mean, they couldn't possibly go any slower. They'd be going backwards. But
I like this take on. I keep thinking about this a lot. When you see the Collier's magazine illustrations of how science fiction was depicted in the 50s and 60s about how life in space was going to be at the beginning of the space age.
mhm.
And then also you combine that with the sci-fi movies and the Pulp Fiction magazines of that era. That was, I'm starting to think that that was disclosure.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that they saw when they first went space in the 50s and 60s. And it was like, ha ha ha, far out, the 10 feet giant ants attacking Washington and the UFOs. Oh, how goofy it all is.
Mhm.
But I'm starting now to believe, like, even now the design of a SpaceX new rocket is almost like straight out of one of those magazines, like one of the 50s, the Tintin landing straight up. So we're 50, 60, 80, how many years behind where. So I started to feel like that era, that depiction of the space age in the 50s and 60s, it was true. And at the time, probably they were saying, okay, we need to make some disclosure so we can come up in the 80s. And that probably was what Star Trek was all about with the Rand Corporation. And then in the 80s, they decide, no, we're not gonna do it. We better keep it secret and keep making money. So I think that's when all died up for a few decades, and now we're still waiting. So that's how I see it.
Yeah. When a guy like Andrew Brishago comes forward and he's on some stations, but they're still kind of a little poking fun and they're not quite taking it seriously, it really does a lot of damage, but at least it gets his name out there. But I really think that all of the media needs to be cleaned out. We need like all of the deep state media people need to be gone and replace them with all of the truther people. I think that'll be good. But and as far as disclosure goes, I mean, for heaven's sakes, we've been talking about Roswell since the 80s. I mean, that's pretty much been resolved. There were two crafts hit by lightning. One struck the other, and there were bodies, and one was alive. So, I mean, but there's way more than just that. I mean, there's so much. I saw one, and no one's going to tell me I didn't see it. So we know this stuff is out there. So it's just only a matter of time before the masses just kind of wake up. And
Is this the place to tell a UFO story?
sure, go ahead.
I have two UFO stories. It's very short.
Awesome.
This is in Spain. I'm kind of dating myself. I'm kind of putting myself out there. I live in the US now, but this is in Spain.
Okay.
And I was getting driving lessons with my dad at the time, and we remember seeing the moon. It was one of those summer nights where you see the moon and the sun in the same place, like at opposite sides, because it was like a full moon. But then at one point we both look right and we see this orb glow that, I mean, where we know how to differentiate what's the moon and what's the sun, but we see this orb, like orange, very bright, that was in the horizon, and we both learned how to drive. So we didn't look too much about it. It's like, what is that? So we continue. It's like we both remember vividly what that was, and it wasn't the moon, it wasn't the sun, but it was like that bright, that big in the sun, in size in the horizon. And then we kept looking. Then it was gone. The sun was still up, the moon was still up, and that thing was gone. And then I remember Googling, when Google was useful in putting UFO sites on the east side of Spain, and there was a few sites on the East Coast that was the same description that what I saw reported in the news.
Oh wow.
That was kind of like the way to verify that. And then the other one, I was in LA already. watching stars at night with my, I guess, yeah, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, and we're looking at the sky, and then we see the stars, and then all of a sudden we see like something, like the stars stop being visible, like if almost like a cloud passed on top of it, that there was no clouds on that night, like something dark obscured the stars as it was passing by through the sky, making no sound. And it was like, what was that? Like we literally could stop seeing stars and then see them again as this thing was passing by, making thing very completely dark.
Wow.
And no sound, no nothing here in the outskirts of LA. So that was interesting.
That does sound interesting. Wow. You know, and so many people have, you know, have seen something. You know, the second UFO I saw was two lights at treetop level, one above the other. And they joined, they were moving eerily across the sky, very smooth, and one above the other. And then the bottom one just joined the top one, that same smooth speed, and kept going. And yeah, my daughter saw it, but now she doesn't want to talk about it. A week after, she didn't want to talk about it ever again. Still to this day, it's been 20 years. People don't like talking about stuff like this because they get ridiculed, or they think they might lose their job, or people think they're crazy. But if you see it, you see it. I mean, you know. Well, thanks for those accounts. That's fantastic. I like your logo too, that free range brain. That's pretty cool.
Certified organic, or it's like a free, yeah, is what it is. It's a brain that can go any place he wants to.
That's cool. Yeah. By the way, this might be a good time to plug one of my products. It's the Invisa Mask. You might have heard about it. I took nanotechnology, nanoparticles, and I made a completely invisible mask. It works with your immune system, and it doesn't inhibit your breathing. You never have to take it off. It's self-cleaning. And I could have made millions on it, but I teleported one to everyone's face. So thank you. You're welcome. That's my gift to humanity. So enjoy your Invisa Mask. You don't have to wear a mask. You're wearing the Invisa Mask. Because with an invisible virus, you need an invisible mask, right? That's my 2 cents worth. Could have made millions, but too big of a heart, too big of a heart. I sent an invisible $10 bill for the Invisa Mask. Well, thank you very much, Mud Rabbit. I really appreciate that. It'll help me buy some invisible groceries. They're a lot less filling, but tasty nonetheless, right? Yeah, friends, you know, you bring up a good point about what the past saw the future as being. You know, I remember when Flintstones first came out. That was a prime time, 8 o'clock in the evening show. It was for adults too. And I don't know if it was a year, 2 years after Flintstones was a big hit, then they came out with the Jetsons. And the Jetsons was the quintessential vision of the future. I mean, we have moving sidewalks, but only at airports. Okay. We don't have flying, well, at least there are a few flying cars, but they're not very, you certainly don't have one that folds up into a briefcase like the one I want to have, just like the Jetsons, right? But I don't know if I'd be comfortable living way up in the sky on these little things. I'd have to wear a parachute nonstop, I think, just in case.
Let me give you this theory, Aaron. I'm convinced that the Flintstones are the futuristic version and the Jetsons are the past version, pre and post apocalypse. And the reason I say that is in the song, they're the modern Stone Age family.
Yeah.
All of the things that the dinosaurs do are based on modern technology. So
Yeah.
it's like, why are all these things already thought of before their inventions? And why is it that they would have that idea that, okay, I need a dishwasher that's a pig, or I need, and they actually, I have the theory that the Jetsons are above the Flintstones, like in the sky. But
when the Flintstones are on the surface and they didn't even know they're up there. Wow. That's interesting. Much the way that the secret space program is existing above our consciousness. Interesting. Wow. I never thought about it that way. If you look up dolmens are ancient stone dwellings, and they're made with like stone slabs and then a stone slab on the top. It looks just like a Flintstones house. Have you ever seen those?
I haven't. No.
Look them up on the intranet. Look up dolmens, and they're all over Europe. They're everywhere. But
the ones I always like to look at are the ones where the people built them like inside of cave walls or stuff like that, and then like abandoned them. And they even had like these huge rocks that they would roll in front of the doors. And I didn't know if they were using it for protection, but they had built vents that go up stories just so they can still get air inside of these like cave sides that are almost impossible to access now. And everybody's just like, wow, they had full civilizations living in these caves, in these dwellings, and they had livestock in there. They've had all kinds of amazing civilizations that I'm convinced that the Earth is much older than people make it out to be. And I don't know that we were ever the highest technical people to be on this planet.
Right. You look at all the ancient megalithic structures and the giant stone structures. That's all that's left from those great societies, whoever they were. Now, what's going to be left from our society? Maybe a bridge or two might be partially, there's not going to be much. We're not doing a whole lot of giant stone things, Maybe we should start, all just carving stuff in stone so there'd be some kind of record that we were here. Right?
Yeah, you look at like Life Without People on the History Channel, it's pretty fast that nature takes back what belongs to it, and like all of a sudden the buildings will be a mountain and just not there anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, looks like we got my friend Corbin Phoenix is in the house. Corbin. Okay. All right. Corbin, my man. Can't hear you, dude. Can't hear you. All right. I hear something. That's okay. He's getting that together. So have you thought of any more questions to ask Andy? Okay.
Oh, there you go.
There he is. Corbin. I can
Yo,
hear
what's
you.
up, man?
Hey.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd call in.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm in the middle doing laundry. Washing machine went out, so I'm like,
Oh no.
trying to get that going. Trying to get going the laundromat, that type of thing. But yeah, I'm with it, man. I'm with it.
Cool. So how is it by you? Are you is your state locked down? Are they masking up over there or what?
No. It's like gradually getting unmasked. People just really just tired of the shenanigans, man. So
Right.
we're pretty much doing our own thing.
That's good.
For the most part, it's like Walmart. Walmart still they still offer the service of giving you a mask at the door, but it's increasingly a lot of people just walking right through there and not even caring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they don't hassle you about it at all. Like you have to ask for a mask, almost kind of like, hey, it's fine if you want to wear a mask, if you want to ask for a mask, but you don't have to wear one if you don't want to.
Uh-huh. I hope you don't get a ticket for driving and talking. Or are you going to park? He's parking. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I worry about you, man.
Oh no, man, it's all good. I'm just trying to make it happen, man, best way I can. I couldn't miss it, man. I done missed too many opportunities to chop it up with you on video, man. And this ain't gonna be one of them days. So yeah.
So what's your opinion about disclosure and this slow disclosure they're trying to feed to the people? What do you think should happen with disclosure? Full disclosure or partial?
Full. Snatch off the Band-Aid. It's time. It's time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like take a little bit of flesh off too. Those would be the scabs, the ones that that chose to stay asleep. They'll come off with the Band-Aid. You know what I mean? I don't care. That I got children. I can't have them growing up like we grew up. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, there'll be some people who will crawl to their safe space, but that's fine.
I mean, but when they want that free tech, then they'll have the come on back out. You know what I mean? If they know what's good for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So now you sent me something, Corbin, very interesting. It was a picture, maybe some people have seen it. It's a picture of the house. I think it was when Biden was giving a speech. And there's a cloaked figure, like this dark cloaking over him. And it looks like some evil Sith Lord or something.
Yeah. And if you think about it, okay, remember that image I sent you where it was that 7-foot seemingly reptilian dressed in all black with like a black Kangol on with like a weird insignia. All right, you remember that? Imagine that same figure with a hood on. It's the same kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just throw a hood on that same image, and that's what you got.
Wow. It's going to be interesting to see how often this character, shows up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it might like you said, character. It's funny you said that. You just kind of just said it without even thinking like, oh, it could just be like one of them. No, it might just be one guy assigned to to these things, to these gatherings, these events. Yeah, like a coordinator, I guess, of some kind.
Right. It's like they're just biding their time.
Damn. Yeah. Until they're all biting the bullet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about Biden, am I crazy, or has somebody else noticed how different the guy looks from just a few years back? What is with that? And everybody's okay with that? Nobody says like, you don't even need, just as hey, the guy has aged very bad. Just a comment like that, but no, people just watch it and nobody makes any of it. I don't even go into the clone or double or whatever, but
right.
I'm not the only one. I don't think I'm the only one.
No, you're not the only one. The thing about it is people, they just I guess they're so used to just like taking like whatever narrative is, they're so used to like trying to question things and not getting an answer to the point. Now they're pretty much just like, I guess you could say what would you call it? Inquisitively like downtrodden. Like they just, their subconscious mind has been so conditioned to like not getting the right answers to the point to where it like doesn't make the conscious mind like, bring these questions up. So they're just like basically, out to lunch, walking around, letting it happen. Whatever they say, whatever. They're so whatever now, and it's just like everything is being swept out from up under their feet. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like what Aaron was saying earlier. You're scared to question it anymore because at that point you're ridiculed for it and everything else.
Yeah, it's just man. That's basically it.
His eyes went black. They're very dark. They used to be blue colored, So that's one thing that's very curious.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is he even white? No. Stop. Hold right there. Is he even a white guy? Have you thought about that? Chinese.
Oh. Well, probably not Chinese because his nickname is the big guy. So probably.
Oh man, no.
I couldn't help it. Sorry about that, folks.
Oh fuck, man. God, man. Oh my God.
Sometimes the humor slips out. It's.
Hey man, hey, look, you gotta laugh to keep from crying, man. I mean, there's way worse shit to be worried about.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension out there.
Yeah.
Not the least of which is this stupid slow disclosure. I mean, there's so many things happening that are, but always in the background, I'm looking at disclosure because I've wanted it my whole life. Because I was 8 years old when I was watching the moon landing, and I'm thinking to myself, this is great. I'm 8 years old. We're on the moon. By the time I'm 30, I'll be able to vacation on the moon.
Yeah.
Well, we're not there yet. What the hell?
Yeah, what happened? Everything just stopped. Yeah, it just stopped. It just stopped.
Yeah, it stopped.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder. Like, it's weird. It's like I'm on the fence with the whole moon thing. It's like, were we really there at that time, or were we not? Because it's like, why would everything just stop? You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of what happens when you put out a movie, and it used to happen a lot of times. Like they will put out, like, in Hollywood, they put a movie out and there was never a sequel. And then it's like, 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, they decide to, revamp it, put it out, and that's kind of what I feel about the moon thing. If we really went there, you know what I'm saying, and it was like a real thing, like a successful thing like that, we would have been, everything would have just shot forward as far as transportation, like, exponentially, but it didn't happen. We're still running around, not far from horse and carriage.
Right.
We shouldn't even be on wheels at this point.
Right.
But regardless, there is proof that we did, for some reason, shoot a movie about going to the moon, and it was done by the guy Kubrick, I believe. That's why they got it, because he was so strict about detail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the only one that could have did it.
But they did that because they didn't want to not have footage, because all this stuff was untested, and they were sending these cameras up to have these astronauts take pictures. Astronauts are not photographers, but they needed something good in case, as a backup, that they didn't get any good shots. But it turned out that the shots were all pretty bad, and they used a lot of this stuff that Kubrick used because they wanted something flashy, because it was a big achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wonder if you all remember, I made an amazing discovery. Now, who remembers the Atacama being? That small little alien that...
Yes, it's super small. And it looked almost kind of like a green bean with arms and a head.
Right. Well, I made an amazing discovery, and just take a look at this. I've solved the mystery, folks. The mystery of the Atacama being has been solved. Take a look at this. So if you look closely, you'll notice that the ankles to the knee to the waist, the proportions are identical.
I'm going to my bungalow.
Yeah.
So now that also solves the mystery. Where did Beavis go?
Right.
So two mysteries solved all at the same time. How do you like that, folks? I mean,
brilliant, man. I mean, wow. I mean, God damn.
I'm working overtime to bring you guys the latest.
Yeah, you working.
Yeah.
Dig it, boy. Dig it.
Humorous disclosure. Humorous.
Yeah.
We need a little.
What happened to all of the samples that came back? How did they all just get lost? Why do we not have any rock samples from the moon anymore after several Apollo visits?
I think I got some in Quisp cereal back when I was a kid.
Wow, like some obscure cereal.
Moon rocks, moon
Yeah.
dust.
Oh, check this out. Listen to this shit. Now, speaking of that, what happened to the samples? Man, Gwyneth Paltrow. You didn't hear about that? Did you hear about that?
No.
Listen, listen. About I don't know, anywhere between like maybe 5 to 3 years ago, she was the plug in Hollywood for moon dust makeup.
Oh.
She was the plug. Like
That's where it went. That's where it went.
Yeah, you couldn't get it nowhere else but Gwyneth Paltrow. She was the moon dust plug.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, and it was like legit moon dust. Like it was legit. So because that's the thing about it. I mean, if I was looking at a Duran Duran video today, because somebody connected the dots that basically I forgot what his name is. The one of the singers of Duran Duran. He actually used to party and hang out with with the Rothschilds, Maxwell, the Ghislaine girl, Ghislaine Maxwell used to hang out with him and stuff like that, party and shit. And so they had this video called Union of the Snake. And it's the first thing you see is a fucking reptilian being on some sand dunes. And when he goes from there, they end up going underground. There's children walking around underground, like weird, like like some sex trafficking, sex child torture stuff going on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. So, and that was back in the 80s. And I was looking at that shit and I was like, these motherfuckers was already going all over space back then. Like I'm looking at this shit, I'm like looking at it, and I remember where I was at that time, how young I was, and how we were just like, they were all like, I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, look at these cheesy 80s shots. And I'm like, but they were already going to Alpha Centauri. So it's like, why? So and that's just the Hollywood sector. They were like privy to that. So I'm like, sure, Gwyneth Paltrow's probably she's probably hung out with a few aliens, few hybrids, reptoids, and and probably came up on some moon dust. So it's real legit, because I can't see any other connection.
Like a VIP, they take VIPs to get to the fancy places. Just like Andrew was saying the other day with Frank Sinatra. If there was gonna be a VIP, if they had the technology, they have to bring somebody up as a VIP. Who else that Frank Sinatra connections with the mafia or connections with everybody?
Right.
Climbing to the moon, right?
Right. And it's wild too. You said Frank Sinatra, man, because it's like really when I see like stills, like pictures of him, you know what I'm saying? Like he had like legit talent. Like he didn't really sing or even look or carry himself like he was just all the way from here. You know what I mean? Like he might have been like one of the earlier star seeds to come through, but that's what they do. They like to find people that are star seeds, and they like to, manipulate that energy for their own good, and then just and then squash it out. You know what I'm saying? It's only if you've got ties to something or you've got blackmail that can protect you that you live as long as Frank Sinatra. If not, you end up fucking dying in the bathtub and shit like Whitney Houston and her daughter, Yeah. So, yeah.
I was just thinking, take me to the moon. Let's fly away.
Yeah. See, look at you.
There we go.
Yep.
Now, Elvis famously, when he was doing his movies, one of his co-stars was Blue Eye's girlfriend. And so they always were like joking, what if he showed up? He showed up one day and he walked into the trailer where they both were.
Oh, shit.
They were playing cards at the table, playing cards.
Wow.
So pretty good timing. Pretty good timing.
Yeah. You already know, like, yeah, but I had to get it together, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, they had to get it together. Hey, Frank's on the lot. He's on the lot. Fuck, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
There's a great vignette that they did when Elvis came back from the service in 1960, and he was on the Frank Sinatra show, and they did altering versions of each other's songs. It's really quite something. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like even like okay, that's the thing too. Some people they can't like divorce the artist from like from the atrocity and shit. Like I know Elvis. He wasn't. He probably wouldn't have been a friend of mine back in the day. But I still recognize like talent. You know what I'm saying, and ability. And just like what he did for music and shit. But like I think he was also like an exceptional person like that. Like back then it was a lot of that. Like nowadays it's way less people that have that thing, like that, that special thing, like that starseed quality. I think Elvis was a starseed as well.
I think so.
Just like Whitney Houston, hell, even Bobby Brown, he was. You just like the thing about it is, it's just like it's things started picking up a lot faster. The MK Ultra thing that they were doing, it like really accelerated around like the late 70s, 80s.
You
So
do know that Whitney Houston's mother was a singer for Elvis. You know that, a background singer.
you see all the connections.
And 9 months after they were having gigs together, Whitney's born. So,
You know what? That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Think about it. Yeah.
And that's another thing too. That's another thing too. Like people don't understand how sentient genetics are, how sentient DNA is.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize that shit. They really don't. I mean, if like let's say DNA is sentient, right? Like I said, and it knows it needs to be somewhere at a certain time in a certain place. It's gonna do things to make sure it gets there with like the least amount of pushback. So being that like I can't see like like the right off top, I can't see like any physical resemblance to Elvis. I can't write it off as not happening, because the thing about it is, as Black people, we have like a really crazy like gene variant. It's like a dominant gene variant. Like it's gonna like take up whatever the fuck is going on if the partner is not like Black or whatever.
Oh,
so
really?
it's possible. It eats it up. It's just like it's weird. It's weird. I've seen like blonde hair, blue eyed chick, and then a light skinned guy, and then the baby come out and doesn't. And you would think like, okay, this baby's gonna look all weird and shit. Like it's like somebody from fucking Brazil or something like that. And no, like the baby looks completely Black, like probably even darker than the dad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've seen it. I've fucking seen it, dude. I've got a daughter with the redhead, and yeah, if you didn't know who her mom was, you wouldn't be able to tell that her mom was a redhead at all. And I'm light skinned. You know what I'm saying? My mom's a white ginger or Black ginger. She looks almost kind of like white from far away. You get up on her, and you notice she's Black. But yeah, it's crazy as shit how genetics work. So you could say that like maybe there might have been some shit going on, maybe a hand in, and maybe it was fucking Elvis's daughter. I don't know, because I've never heard of Whitney Houston's dad. I've only heard of her mom right now.
And she talks about how she was introduced to Elvis at some point. I think she was like 7 or something. So she did meet him. They made a point that she would meet him. Yeah, you said something. It sounds like a song to me. Black Ginger. That sounds like it could be your next big hit, dude.
That might be the one. That might be the one.
Yeah. That has a ring to it.
It does.
I want to show you guys one of my inventions.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my son trying it out. That's the wind bike. Okay.
Oh shit.
We put a patio umbrella on a bike at about a 30-degree angle or 15-degree angle. And when you crank that thing open, it will take you up a hill. It'll take you down a hill. It'll throw you in a ditch like it did to me a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's a whole heck of a lot of fun. That's the wind bike, folks. Look at that.
Man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. I mean, like the thing about it is that might actually help me out in the country, because my kids want to ride bikes, but I live in dirt road country. So something like that'll work. You know what I mean? Put that on there. You know, rocks be damned. You know what I mean? Go through all that.
But I'm telling you, it's pretty dangerous. I had to cut holes in the front because I couldn't see where I was going, very fast. But it doesn't take much wind to make that thing go. It's
You can also put a leaf blower, and there you go.
Yeah, leaf blower. I've seen that. I've seen a kid on rollerblades with a leaf blower just going forever.
Getting it. Yeah, man. I mean, you see that's just, if you can find a way to have fun and get something done, with a little bit of ingenuity,
How many leaf blowers would it take to make a jetpack?
Let's see. Probably about 20. 20.
You need a lot of extension cords too.
Yeah, oh man, beyond. Like, boy, let's see. Wait a minute. What if you got a Tesla and you just got the battery from that shit and then hooked it up and chained them all up to the Tesla battery? Like one of the like the second tier Tesla batteries. If you had one on deck, you could probably do it. You probably do it with a Tesla battery. Yeah,
probably could.
We've got a hover boat right now that it goes a couple inches off the water, and that's done all by air, and it takes a lot of energy to do it. I think it only runs for like 12-15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's, we're talking about conventional energy, Yeah, conventional energy.
Something better.
Yeah, you gotta have something that, like, that we supposed to have type shit. Which brings us back to disclosure. You know what I mean? It's yeah, right. Like that's another thing too. Because now I'm up here. Now you don't fuck my head up with this Whitney Houston thing. Because I'm thinking, like, what if they just use technology to make her look different than fucking Elvis? Like they cloaked her genetically to not look like Elvis's daughter or offspring.
And Michael Jackson married Lisa Marie Presley, but he was also dating Whitney Houston in the 80s.
Oh, he was?
The fuck? Yes. Oh. I forgot all about that.
And did you see someone's claiming that Michael Jackson appeared in a live stream somewhere briefly?
The fuck?
Recently.
Whoa.
And it looked just like him, only a little older.
Man.
I was at UCLA the day that he died. I remember I was driving down the freeway and I saw all the helicopters, and I make a U-turn and went to the hospital without even knowing what it was. Wow. And I saw the helicopter taking the body.
Oh man, you probably just felt it.
Here's my question. I remember from a long time ago when cryogenics first was making, the big splash. Michael Jackson jumped on that right away and declared that when he dies, he wants to be frozen and put in that cryogenics. So if he did die, how come that didn't happen? Or did it happen? Or that's my question.
You know what?
I've been convinced for a while that we lost Michael Jackson after that burn injury when he was doing that Pepsi commercial or whatever. And that was it. They put somebody else forward after that. But I mean, of course, it's just speculation. But at the same time, there was this white burn victim that came on Larry King that was 100% convinced that it was Michael Jackson in a suit. And later in his career, talked about how he liked to walk around in a suit to be incognito in public. And I was just like, oh, that was him.
Yeah. So you saw that too. Too. Yeah, I see.
Very interesting. Yes, I saw it too. Yeah, it makes you wonder.
It's so funny how back in the day, the only conspiracy theory back in the day, it was whether or not Walt Disney is frozen or not. Before the internet, one of the first urban legends everybody would like to speculate about was like, is Walt Disney frozen or is he not?
Kennedy assassination.
Well, there was that. There was that. But yeah, those are two things. Was Walt Disney frozen? Is he still alive but frozen? That was all that shit. And then I think somebody said it was like,
World.
Oh, well, huh?
Under Disney World?
So what?
Isn't that the speculation?
I said he was either froze under Disney World or somewhere in like Switzerland or some shit like that. I don't know. But yeah, that was the thing. They were like, oh, well, he did try to freeze himself, but the containment unit failed. And I was thinking like, man, please, like, man, they probably just, I don't look, the technology they got, man, I don't see a glorified freezer failing when they've been going to fucking like Mars and Jupiter and shit since the 30s.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, look at what Andrew has brought forward. When he was studying and working with the Mars Jump Room program, the head of that program was Howard Hughes. Now, Howard Hughes at that time was supposed to be dead, but he wasn't dead. He was working in these secret special access programs.
Right. But
So,
dude, we're dealing with like a multi-tiered like, reality prison,
mhm.
And
Yeah.
Disney also worked with Von Braun and a lot of the NASA scientists in the 50s to do those specials about life on Mars. And
Mhm.
they did 3 specials, I think, about the space back in the day. And they used all the best all the best Disney artists of the time were working on that thing with Herbert Von Braun.
Oh no, I think it's wild, man. Like it just seems strange to me. And then some of like the celebrity deaths, like I'm like, they probably just like, okay, look, all right, so when do you want to go to this planet or this place or this spot, inner Earth? When do you want to go? You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done all the criteria, you know what I'm saying? You've done this and the third. When do you want to go? I think probably year 57 I think probably year 52 or 42 or, just shit like that. Okay, look, we got to build you up and we got to make sure that like if you meet your quota of this amount of popularity, then that's when we're gonna declare you dead. Because I mean, they generate energy off of that. So, there's that. If they're like, okay, at this point, we're gonna need an energy burst from your fan base. So this is when you're gonna die at this point if you've reached this criteria of fame, and then that's when they kind of go. So it has a little bit to do with not only what they agreed upon, but then also too how much like spiritual energy that they can like harness, through their, and then release through their death.
With talking about celebrity deaths, do you guys have any opinions on the 27 or 28 club, where all of the famous artists died at the age of like 27? There was, I think, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, who we talked about earlier, Amy Winehouse, who her main influence was Frank Sinatra, and you can tell by her music. But there's just so many artists that died at the age of 27, and you wonder because they were on their prime.
Exactly. They get to the point to where it's just like, oh, we can't live without these people, and then they just poof, get them out of there. And what happens is it creates like, they place it and they sync it up with like, constellation and star patterns, because they know that like at those times, and then especially time of day, like when that energy is released, when that news goes out, it goes exactly to where they want it to go, to like whatever like, I don't know, what would you call it, like gateways. It goes to whatever gateways they need to like harness the energy properly, like the celestial gateways and shit. And and I think that and that's a good theory, you know what I'm saying? He said, hey, this guy was supposed to be dead, but he was running like, a part of the secret space program. And I think that was a part of it too. Like, like they do this shit all the fucking time, but they know that it's so crazy that nobody will fucking believe it.
Right.
Right.
You guys dug a bit on Donald Marshall?
Man, yeah.
That craziness?
Yes, I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, I know.
The clone centers, the clone facilities.
Right.
Talking about celebrities, I listened to one of his things and he pointed out about a video clip of Britney Spears, where it's an animated video clip where she goes to an elite party and she goes to an underground facility where it's full of clones of her, and she goes to the cloning facility. It's spooky. After listening to Donald, I watched that video, and especially after Britney snapping in 2007. It was, I'm not saying it's confirmation of anything, but it was.
It seemed like it was perfect timing.
Yeah, a little bit too close.
Yeah, I mean, like that whole what do you say? What is it? Donald Marshall? Yeah, like man, I was watching that shit, and there was a part in one of the videos, right? I'm sitting down, like this is fucking crazy. I forget which one it was, but I was sitting down listening to it. It might have been the first video I watched, but I don't know if it was in order. And as I'm watching it, he's talking, and then all of a sudden, this weird like audio frequency came through the fucking it came through like the phone out through the speaker. And the wild shit about it is like, you know, as like an IE, somebody that's kind of like, you know, like a little bit more psychically attuned than like most other people, like, you know, sometimes I can like hear sounds more than I can hear, you know, I can feel sounds more than I can hear them, you know. Sometimes it's weird shit, you know what I mean? It like hits on a different level. So this weird sound came through, and it sounded almost kind of like a hiss, like a, and yeah, and then I could feel it. It was weird. It was like, what the fuck is that affecting? I'm thinking it was probably fucking with my pineal gland or something, because it didn't feel like it was my body, my actual body. Like it was like a astral body kind of feel, like something was moving in like my frequency. And then all of a sudden, I see my boss just kind of glitch at the tape at his desk, and he wasn't paying attention to what I was watching, you know. And it was down low, it wasn't up high, and it was on my phone, so it wasn't like, you know, there was bass or subwoofers. And he wasn't paying any attention. He was working on like, you know, like clerical shit with like his job or whatever, you know, like, cause I work at his print shop. He's like about a year or two older than I am. He's facing me, but he's facing his computer. And all of a sudden I just seen him kind of glitch, and he started like kind of like wigging out, like he was having a seizure or something, like a mini seizure. And he said, dude, what the fuck was that? And I said, you felt that shit too? He said, dude, what the fuck was that? Like I heard and I felt something, and dude, I don't know. I said, you should have seen what you did. And he said, what did I do? I said, man, dude, you just started kind of like glitching at the desk, like something was wrong with you. And he was like, and I said, at the same time that I heard that slither sound come through the fucking speaker. And he was like, whoa, that was weird, because that was not a good feeling at all. I said, I know, it's trippy, it's crazy. Wow. And sure enough, I played it back. It was as he was talking about the underground facilities and shit like that, and the torture thing. As he was talking about that, like it started happening once he started talking about the ones that have the pustules on their head that shoot their brain out into your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around that time in one of the videos, and my fucking balls glitched.
Wow.
A sound came through, like that's wild. Like that has never fucking happened to me. Like I said, I've had something happen where a disembodied voice came through some shit when I was working on music. This right here was about crazier than that, because there was a witness to the shit. When I heard that sound that came through on a song that I was working on, it was only me. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd have to just believe me and take my word for it. But this shit here, like there was somebody to corroborate, like, no, I was there. I felt the same shit. So that was, and that fucking Donald Marshall, man.
Wow.
So something was either, you know, he's probably been grossly implanted, you know what I mean? You know, shit like that. So there was probably like maybe an implant because of the information he was giving out, like it was like trying to come through and disrupt the shit, and he was powering through it. And that's what we heard. We heard like residual of that. Cause and think about it. That's us listening to a poor quality video from back then. Just imagine be like sitting in the fucking room, being him, sitting in the room dealing with that shit. They were hitting him with an energy weapon or something.
Right.
Crazy. Fucking insane, man. So I get my hats off to any of these guys for even doing any of this shit. Tila Tequila's crazy ass too. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that she's not exactly crazy, but she's had shit go on with her brain that, you know, because of things they've done, you know, because if they can make my boss do that and me feel that, you know, on a video that was took a long time ago with no good resolution to it, just imagine being live on the set.
Yeah. Wow.
They got some shit.
Amen.
That's some wild stuff. I'm getting excited again for the show on Sunday with Andrew. And does anybody have any questions that they want to postulate in case you're not here on Sunday? Remember to tune in on Sunday to 3 to 5 Central, or you can call in and talk to Andrew Brashago.
Okay. Right. It's real hard. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'll try to be here on Sunday, but I don't know if I've heard him talk about recently his interest in Bigfoot and his like whole feelings about that. He divulged into it a little bit on other segments, and I didn't know if he had talked about it on any of the Truth Quest segments. So I thought that would be interesting. With growing up in Washington, I feel like he's got, or living in Washington, he's got a better knowledge of Bigfoot than most.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's everywhere though. That motherfucker's everywhere. Like, I mean, I'm not saying just him. I know it's like a race of things, but yeah, Bigfoot. That dude's all over the fucking place. Him and his folks, man. Like I got a homegirl, right? She's she's pretty tapped in. Man, need to get on the show one time though, Aaron. At least once. She can actually see entities. She died twice. Yep, she died twice and went into like a like some kind of weird involuntary coma thing for like two weeks. She just went to sleep. She went into a stasis and nobody could wake her up. And then she just woke up one day.
Wow.
Yeah. She's real interesting. Her name's Mia. And I joked with her. I was like, wow, you came in at a good point in my life. Like I was headed towards something, doing some things that were not cool. And she came in like, just randomly into my life and then like diverted fucking disaster. And so I call her AIM sometimes because that's like perfect aim. Like she got me right before I fucking went off the deep end,
Wow.
And so it's part of like probably why she's around. But anyway, she has a story about Bigfoot. And wow. She said that she's seen it. She said her dad actually fucked around and seen it, and like he's seen it and actually confronted it, shot it, dumped the whole clip, a whole like 9mm, dumped the whole fucking clip in it, and it didn't do shit. Because he said what happened was it was standing there, and when it walked up to like the fence row, and it was a barbed wire fence, that motherfucker just put his foot on the fence and just mashed it down, like just, and like the fucking post just made an A form, like it just like straight down, and like it was gonna come through, but it just stood there. You know what I mean? And then so he just started dumping the whole clip. So she didn't know what had happened. When he came back to the house, he was just that night, he was like, Mia, I emptied a whole thing, a whole clip into it. I emptied all the shells into it. It didn't do anything. Nothing happened. Why? How? Like he didn't, and it was wild because he didn't know anything about no Bigfoot or anything like that. He just knows that he shot some shit that was solid as fuck. Like he said he could almost feel its density when he was shooting it. Like it was just like the sound it was making was not normal, especially for something that's walking around with a heartbeat,
Wow.
He knew it was like something dense, like could not be penetrated, but he emptied the whole clip and he just got the fuck out of there. Like there was nothing he could do.
Well, that's really, really interesting. I hope Andy tells his story about his encounter with Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. More than one Bigfoot. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to say something before he says it. He's told me in private. It's pretty spectacular. It's a spectacular story. So
yeah, say that.
Look forward to hearing that again.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to tune in, man. Like Sundays is wild because like I gotta get my kids ready for the next day, and it's just like, I thought something like, yeah, I could definitely tune in. Like the most I'm able to do is to like I'll work out and I'll listen to the show. Like that, and usually I'm working out on Sundays latest fucking night. So sometimes y'all will be on live and I'll catch it, you know what I mean? And then I'll have to pause it for whatever reason. And by the time I unpause it, because like my battery be going low. I'll unpause it and y'all already done the live, but I watched the remainder of it.
Okay.
You know, so I've been trying to do that, but like it's just really hard to get it together on Sundays. But this Sunday, however, I think I should be straight because my daughter's birthday is May 1st. You know, Mayday. You know, Illuminati birthday. You know, yeah. She's turning 13. Wow, 13, Illuminati's birthday. Oh shit. You know, I'm just gonna make sure yeah. I'm gonna be looking around, making sure like nothing goes wrong on that day.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah. So anyway, but you know, so my wife, she's taking off, you know, Sunday and Monday, well, Saturday and Sunday. So I'll be able to actually tune in this Sunday. I'll be able to do it, you know, so yeah, I'll be able to do it this Sunday because we got one car. So it's like, you know, we're doing the shuffle. So I have to wait for her to get back home on Sunday night. She doesn't get home maybe to about like 8:30 or whatever. She's got to go pick up some groceries before she gets to the crib. So yeah, but yeah, I will definitely be able to do it this weekend because she will not be at work. You know, she took vacation time. So
good. Well, looking forward to hearing your questions for Andy.
Yeah. So do you want us to give us your question? Give you the questions now? Is that what you want us to do or what?
Well, if you're not going to be there Sunday.
But, no, I'm gonna be there.
Okay, good. Then I'll let you ask it for sure.
All right.
I try to give everyone a chance. There was one person last Sunday, like there was 5 minutes left, and I was just ready to put him in, and he dropped off before I could get him on there. So I feel bad about that.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it kind of wild? Like, you know, I couldn't imagine being like in a situation where you've got tens of thousands of fucking emails and questions and shit and not being able to answer them. Like, that would drive me fucking crazy. Yeah. You know? It would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, but that's cool. That's cool. We're at the stage now to where, like, we can actually get to everybody, you know? You know, but yeah, I mean, so as far as it goes, man, like, how are you, like, I mean, is the Basagio, Basago, how you say it? Basago?
Bashago.
Like Chicago.
Bashago, Chicago. Okay, Bashago.
That's how you remember it.
Yep. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Like, so as far as that goes, man, like, I don't know. I mean, like, the shit seems like it's like a lot of information is dropping from what he's saying, and I'm just thinking, like, what's the next step? You know what I mean? Like, where, you know, because I think honestly, man, like y'all two together should interview some motherfuckers. Like it should be like almost kind of like a self-perpetuating thing. It's like now you've got him, right? And then y'all can like get somebody on that's like, you know, that might be, you know, privy to some other shit, you know, to another tier that y'all haven't got to yet. You know, even though him being in the fucking secret space program is pretty fucking up there, you know. But I'm just saying, like, other people like that, like, you know, like, and you guys both like double teaming them, you know, to where they can't get no wiggle room. Like, we gonna get this info, we gonna get a disclosure one way or another type shit.
We have talked about that, and even some Bigfoot people have come up for possible guests. But I want to take this time to clarify that Truth Quest with Aaron Moriarty is my show. The Quest for Truth with Andrew D. Bashago is Andy's show. So, okay. I'm the host of this show, Truth Quest. But for Andy's show, The Quest for Truth, I'm the moderator. It's his show. So
okay.
And you know what's really weird is, you know, I just got over 2,000 subscribers, and I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. Grinding. Yeah.
You know, I'm still a little tiny channel, and you know, I was always curious why he chose me, because he chose me. Okay, like you said, he did a couple shows with the Mad Martin guy too, but he told me that he said that one time in the 70s, when he was going into the future through one of the modalities, I can't remember which one it was, he remembers seeing my name. And so that's why he chose me and my channel, because he saw me in the future somehow related to the disclosure of his stuff. So
Okay. All right.
I'm like blown away by that.
That's crazy. No,
it's
that's
pretty incredible.
wow. Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's, you know, and that's another thing too. He's just like, you know, so basically it's like you represent a reality that he wants to see.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Or
awesome.
that
That's
he's
really
already seen. Yeah, he's already seen it.
well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you know, but that he wants to see in this you know what I mean? Like, you know, consciously without having to recall anything. He wants to live and exist in that reality that you represent.
Right. And
Right.
it's really weird because he was the second person I contacted to be on the show. Corey Good was my first guest, and then the second guest, I thought I got to get Andy. And I hadn't talked to him in a long time. He used to be very active on Facebook back when he was running for president back in 2015, 2016. And I had several, you know, chat conversations with him. And he was always very, you know, attentive to everybody. I was amazed at how he could, like, you know, talk to all these different people. And I thought, wow, there's never been a candidate so accessible.
Right.
And so I thought, well, and back then I had a radio show on Blog Talk Radio, and I had asked him to go on the show, but never got it lined up. But this time, it was just serendipity that he remembered seeing my name. So that's wild.
Yeah. This is a little bit more than serendipity, though. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more. It's almost kind of like there was a design in place. You know?
Yeah. So
and
I'm
saw
very
you
grateful. So I'm hoping that the channel grows enough to be a big enough audience for a guy like that. So if you can all help, please share some of these shows out. Let's get people into this, and subscribe. And then you get notification when we do shows like this, and the show every Sunday with Andrew.
No doubt.
Yeah, the show with Andrew on Sunday is getting better. Like,
yes,
the last episodes have flowed really well. Technical difficulties here and there, but it has been very, very entertaining, very well put together.
Yes, well, thank you. And you know, this is all his vision. So, you know, before the show last week, he said, you know, let's do this proof. I want to do a proof every week, and that proved to be very, very interesting. So look for more information to come forward on that. The Owensville, Indiana, 1939. Remember Pearl Harbor, 2 years to the day before Pearl Harbor happened. You know, everyone was always wondering, how did they know? Who did this? And, you know, now we got the answer. So thank goodness for that.
That's what's up. Yeah, man.
Also, if you like this show, you know, I do have a PayPal. I know it's not in the description yet. I have to put that all together, but so yeah, thank you for all tuning in. I think we're gonna probably call it an evening. We've been going at it now for let's see, pretty long.
Yeah, fairly long.
Pretty long. We had 18 people watching now. 102 minutes ago we started.
Yeah. That's what's up.
So if you can, friends, share this out even when it's done, or at one of the other shows. Let's get as many people on board as we can. And the shows are going to keep getting better and better. We'll get more and more guests. I'm working on getting some very interesting people on. And so looking forward to that. I want to thank everyone who called in, Marcos, Corbin, and Jake. Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice meeting y'all, by the way.
You got it.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Corbin.
Yeah, man, y'all cool people, man.
All right, this is Aaron Moriarty signing off. Peace in. Remember, 3 to 5 Central. Andrew Bashago, The Quest for Truth.